This is the WJTS News. I'm Bill Potter. In tonight's news, 2 men are killed in a 2-vehicle accident just north of Lagodi. 2 new state reps representing local districts are sworn in Indianapolis. And poachers are arrested in Martin County. In sports, Kurt Guxell previews the upcoming Southridge football semi-state game. And tonight, WJTS Inform features Charlotte Olson talking about Girls on the Run. In the news, 2 men were killed in a 2-vehicle crash Wednesday morning at US 231 near Boggs Lake north of Lagodi. Indiana State Police say at around 8:20 yesterday, 60-year-old Kevin Sears of Odin was northbound on US Highway 231 when police say for an unknown reason, his 2002 Honda Civic veered into the southbound lane near County Road 700 North. Police say the Honda pulled directly into the path of a 2008 Dodge Avenger driven by 29-year-old Zachary Green of Lagodi. Sears' Honda struck Green's Stratus, coming to a stop almost immediately. Sears was pronounced deceased at the scene by the Martin County coroner. Green and his front seat passenger were both taken to Memorial Hospital in Jasper. The passenger in Green's vehicle was transferred to St. Vincent Hospital in Evansville, where police say he succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead. Notification of the passing to the family is still pending. Green was treated for injuries to his legs and ankle. Police say all 3 vehicle occupants were wearing seatbelts at the time of the crash, which remains under investigation by state police crash reconstructionists. Indiana State Police were assisted by the Martin County Sheriff's Department, the Lagodi Fire Department, and the Southwest Medical Martin County EMS. The 2 men who were recently appointed to finish out the final year of 2 recently opened local seats in the Indiana House of Representatives took their oaths of office today. Republicans Steve Bartles of Eckerty and Shane Lindar of Jasper were sworn in as the newest members of the Indiana legislature during a ceremony earlier today at the House chamber in Indianapolis. The ceremony was presided by Indiana Supreme Court Justice Jeffrey Slaughter. Lindauer was picked by members of the Indiana Republican Party during a caucus held October 30th, in the Pfaffenweiler Room at Jasper City Hall, to complete the final year of former Indiana District 63 State Representative Mike Brown's term. Brown resigned on November 1st to focus on his 2018 campaign for the United States Senate. Lindauer was picked over Washington City Councilman Jerry Sidebottom. Soon after Brown announced his plans to run for the U.S. Senate last August, Lindauer followed up by announcing his intentions to run for the state representative seat in the next year's election, which he still plans to do. Indiana House District 63 covers parts of DuBois, Pike, Davies, and Martin counties. A week later, Bartles was selected by members of the same Indiana Republican Party during a caucus held on November 6th at Perry Central High School to fulfill the Indiana District 74 seat vacated by Lloyd Arnold. He was one of 6 Republicans who filed for the vacancy. Arnold had served as the district state representative since he was first elected to the office in 2012. He was recently appointed to the position of Director of Law Enforcement with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources. He resigned on October 22nd. Bartles will serve out the remainder of Arnold's 2-year term, which will conclude at the end of 2018. Bartles says he plans to run for a full 2-year term in the next election. Indiana House District 74 consists of all or portions of Crawford County, DuBois, Orange, Perry, and Spencer counties. Both caucuses were presided over by Indiana Republican Party State Chairman Kyle Hupfler. A Lawrence County woman was arrested Tuesday after investigators say she battered and injured her boyfriend's 23-month-old son in Martin County. A trooper with the Indiana State Police was contacted Tuesday by the Indiana Department of Child Services to assist with investigating a child at a daycare center that recently had suffered numerous bruises and bites. According to child care workers who had initially reported the injuries to the DCS, the 23-month-old child has sustained injuries sometime between last Friday afternoon, November 10th, and Monday morning, November 13th. Police learned that the only people the child was with during that time was his father, Dakota Pageant, and his girlfriend, 29-year-old Chelsea New of Bedford. Through the course of the investigation, state police and the DCS learned that New had babysat the infant child during the weekend and had struck and bit him as a disciplinary measure. New was placed under arrest and charged with level 5 felony counts of battery on a minor and neglect of a dependent, as well as a level 3 felony count of criminal confinement. The infant was taken into custody by the Department of Child Services and was transported to Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis for evaluation and treatment. 2 Martin County men were recently taken into custody on various charges after they allegedly took part in multiple acts of deer poaching last weekend. Conservation officers with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources say last Saturday, November 11th, an officer was contacted by an anonymous caller about multiple white-tailed deer that had been shot illegally. The officer conducted a series of interviews with multiple individuals and was able to determine that 26-year-old Brooke Hawkins of Shoals had shot and killed 3 white-tailed bucks within a period of 48 hours. Now, conservation officers first say last Friday, November 10th, between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m., Hawkins was allegedly searching for a deer from a motor vehicle with a spotlight. A group of 3 deer were located, and authorities say Hawkins shot a large 9-point buck from the motor vehicle with a Ruger rifle and the aid of a spotlight. They say that they then left the area and returned hours later to pick up the animal. Authorities say the next day, Saturday the 11th, between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m., Hawkins was in a burgundy Ford truck driven by 27-year-old Brandon Clifton of Lagodi. They say Hawkins located a buck deer with a spotlight and shot it from the vehicle. When the buck dropped, Hawkins ran into the field, cut off the head, and left the body lying in the field. It was also found that around 6 p.m. that same day, Hawkins was in a vehicle driven by Clifton and located a buck standing in a field and shot it with a .204 Ruger rifle. Authorities say that deer was not retrieved. Brooke Hawkins was placed under arrest and charged with hunting deer by illegal method, illegal taking, possession of a white-tailed deer, use of artificial light to take a deer, hunting deer with the aid of a motor vehicle, and false informing. Meanwhile, Brandon Clifton is being charged with illegal taking, possession of a white-tailed deer, use of artificial light to take a deer, and hunting deer with the aid of a motor vehicle. Trooper Detective Brock Werney of the Jasper District of the Indiana State Police, along with Trooper Walter Butt of the Indianapolis Post, represented the Indiana State Police last week at a funeral for a fallen Texas trooper in Temple, Texas. Texas Department of Public Safety Senior Trooper Thomas Nipper was killed in a traffic crash on November 4th. Werney and Butt, both members of the ISP Honor Guard, attended the funeral and assisted the Texas Department of Public Safety as they laid their fallen officer to rest. The Indiana State Police regularly sends members of the department to out-of-state funeral details for fallen state police officers as a gesture of solidarity in law enforcement. That goes beyond the borders. Now stay tuned. Weather, sports, and Inform are still to come on WJTS News.